Perfect, my friends. Now is the time to start now. That is welcome to participate on the Access Agile Festival. That is the presentation about business agility applied in ecosystems and platforms. I'm very, very proud to make this presentation for you. I hope that you enjoy a lot this content and this topic, okay? And I start with talking a little more about me. I am a business manager, work with many different situations in different places of the world. I have the very happy to talk that I participate in as a speaker, a presential speaker in more than 25 cities in 10 countries. That is very interesting for me to participate in different places, different cities, as you could see on the screen. And this is one opportunity to talk with you a little more about this topic. Okay. Now I want to talk a little more about me. That is in another way, let's just say, that is an interesting view, this the source of my travel map, the Facebook app. I don't know if you understand or don't know about this, but it's a different way to see the way that you could see the person and discover more about somebody. And it could be interesting because we have this a different idea. There is my travel map. It's my journey in different cities in different places in different countries. That's you could start for this. I am a Brazilian guy. I was born in São Paulo. This is a city here that's close of Brazil. I have the opportunity to live 2 years in Buenos Aires and 1 year in Lima, in Peru. Then we have this connection with Latin America. I have the opportunity to study a little in Vancouver, in Canada, and that's I have the opportunity to participate in a project in 3 continents. The project we have with people in South Africa, in Cape Town. We have team in Paris, in France. We have team in New Jersey, in the United States, and have customers in Brazil and in Chile. Then it's a good opportunity to make this connection, and very interesting because it was a project with a traditional way that is a predictive, as you say, the waterfall. And in the hybrid solution, we have the other part in the agile moment, the agile process and the agile mindset. Then it could be very interesting to make this connection in these both words and to share something now with you about these topics, okay? And I want to start talking more about that's the Business Agility Institute. It's very interesting to talk about these topics just to connect with everybody here. That's I believe that you discover something about it, but it's important to check the part of the leadership. That's one part very important that you could see here. That's the important to see how we could do this and how you could organize the company to check this point of view. You could see here when you talk about the leadership of the company, the board of the company, and this is very important to organize. And if you're working at this moment with Agile, you know what I'm saying. That's very important to discuss at this topic. That's the leadership of the team. You could say the individuals too. That's the person that participate in the Agile. Is very important at this point. The team is so critical that you need to put more information for him, that you need to improve the individuals, and you could see here some topics about it. And the other is about operations. Without Agile, it's in some point is a lean process. We need to use this, we need to improve this process, and you could see this on this part of the operations. Then connected all of them, the board, the partners, and workforce, we have the focus on the client, to put the client on the center client-centered, as the people said, is most important. And this is the base of the business agility, and we'll talk a little more about it. Okay, and go ahead on these topics. You could see that in not only this, but to think about how you could increase these and how you use the future of the companies, no? And you see here that the trends that you could see, and have some here that you could see. For instance, the evolving environment. That is, I believe that's after the pandemic situation, we identify many differences and many changes for everybody, and especially for the process, the workforce organizing different places in a remote process without an office as was before accustomed to maintain the team. No, this disruptive technologies, it's clear that for everybody about its situations of cybersecurity and other technologies like big data, you could see that's the blockchain too, and the Internet of Things, many different technologies that's change the way that the companies work and the people who do the activities in the company. Okay, we had the other is the accelerated digitalization in the democratization of the information. Now it's easy to find information. It's easier than I don't know, that's 5-10 years before. And this is interesting because you use this data to discover and to get more information and develop more the business. Okay. And the last is the new war of talents. No, we are accustomed with this war of talents, but in specific countries. But now we have this in a global level, because that is easy to, for instance, one person working that's living in Latin America and South Africa, or that's in Asia, that could work with an American company, or that's a European company. But this is very interesting. It's a new way of the companies and new way of the work process for everybody. Yes. And you could see this in comparison with the organizations. Before, the organizations was aligned as machines. You could see that you have very clear the process of the bureaucracy. I could just put something that's maybe could be easy for everybody here. Yes, I could see here the bureaucracy that is so hard in the companies. It's very common in this. The process of top-down hierarchy that is so common in the big companies. And you have the detailed structures and the teams separated in silos, very specific silos that work as like a different companies. If you work in a big company, you know what I'm saying. Many companies work in this way. That's putting in like a separate areas, and the areas is fighting before and between with them to make the development of the process and go ahead. Okay. And now we have the situation that is changed, and the organizations need to be organisms. You could see that it's more common to get these resources in flexible ways, like a matrix project that you could see the people working in different parts and different teams, and this project is so quickly reviewed or change something. You could see these boxes and lines that's not so important. Now is much more about that's the action, and in fact, you could check the result. The result is more important than only the box or the position that you have. Okay, the things are considering this way that you have to accountability, that's to end-to-end deliver the result. When you think about agile way and agile mindset, I believe that is very common with everybody here that's talking, that you need to put the focus on the results, the value that you deliver for your customers. And we have this situation that the leadership, it's much more to define the direction, the trends, and not only to do the micro management. As you said, it's not necessary to enter instrument details and believe more that you could go ahead. Considering this situation that you have, we could go and check the next level that you're thinking about. That's the management 3.0, 3.0. That's I know that you know about this 3.0. That's interesting because you could see that it started in the process of the management 1.0. That is a command control. That's very old process. Okay, the old school. You could see the management 2.0. That is a little challenge, but it's not a complete change. It's not in part of the company. And now you talk about the management 3.0. That is very strong process when you have this in another way, and you could deliver it in a company in another way. That you could see this, for instance, if you check here for the six views of management 3.0, that you could see this view, for instance, in the process as you could see some points like it, for instance, energize people. It's so important to make it. If you discover about that's the process of the agile, we know what I'm saying. That it's very important to maintain this in another way. It's important to confirm that the company is working in this new energy that is so important. No, and you could see this, for instance, here that when you talk about that the process that you've seen, for instance, this alignment of this, the empowerment of the people is so important when you think about the agile process. I believe that's everybody here. It's clear about this. I don't know. Let's just put here the presentation, and you could see it in the align the constraints. It's so important to put everybody in the same page. That's to define the constraints, not define the blocks, and much more to directions. You need to develop the competence and growth this structure. That's so important to maintain it and improve everything. And considering this, I just want to talk a little more about some examples of it. No, Google and Facebook, I know that everybody know about. That's not too much necessary to speak too much. But I want to talk about other companies, and maybe could talk about Zappos. I don't know that you know about this. This is one solution of the you could say that is important about to organize the shoes or something like it. And it's very important that you could see one good example when one guy of this company, this is the attention center of the people, the clients, that get the situation that stay talking with a customer, and the customer is so sad because her mother was died 2 days before. She's very sad, and the guy decided to send flowers for this customer without ask for anyone. Just don't talk with the manager, don't try to get some approval, just do it. It's very important to think about this other way. And the Pixar is the other solution that is very famous too, that make this concept true. Because think about that's the management 3.0, it's a different way to do the activities, and this is important for everybody. Go ahead for this, I want to talk about that's the process of the exponential organizations. I don't know if everybody is not about, it's common to talk about it, but it's very interesting because when you think a new business, in general, it starts with a micro, small business, is small, that's it's like for, in comparison with animal, maybe a butterfly, it's starting like a butterfly. But after you get the small company startup, like a rat, that is a little more quickly and organizing the company to put more solutions and deliver more and expand the influence area that they are working. This is a good point too. Okay, and the next we have the Gesell. That is interesting to see that you could see these medium companies and they try to make the scale up, and you could see this as the animal, the Gesell, that make this quickly, that's try to get this. And this is the point of the exponential organizations that say that it's not possible to grow only on the organic way. You will need some partners to make this quickly and go ahead. And this, naturally, at one moment, you stay in a different position, like a big company, and you could make the comparison with the elephant. This just to think about the evolution of the company and how you could do this connection with different situations. Okay, my friends? And now I want to talk a little more about it, but in another way, and think about this in the situation that you have on the market. I don't know if you have some examples close of you in our countries, in our business, the area that you're working, but this is very interesting to think about the change of the world. Before we have some specific areas working in specific ways, and it's very close. You could say that it's not too much possible to make changes in this way. The bank is the bank. One company of an industrial company is an industrial company. There's no too much review or too much, how can I say, the border is very clear, the line, the cross line is very close of each kind of business. But at this moment, no, the company is changing. And the good example is Amazon. Do you know about it? Amazon is a library, starting as a library after it started with the cloud solutions, that is a very famous too. And after, now you could see Amazon as a bank. And to make a comparison with the Chase, that's a famous bank in the United States, you could see that have many products that Amazon offer as a bank. You could identify it very easily, and it's interesting to check that it's the expertise of them is much more than the library. It's much more of the cloud environment or the logistic process to sell something, and put more one, how can I say this, one completely view, like a broad view of the customer, and make much more. Because, for instance, they discover one way to get to put the client very, how can I say this, happy with the process of to buy something. That's to buy one click. I don't know if everybody knows, but in Amazon it's possible to buy with one click. There's a famous, is a like a patent that they created. That is a very interesting to think that they do this just because that's very close of the client, that the customer, they know a lot about it. And when they discover more, they could include more services for them. And think about your business at this moment. Think if you have some situations of there's other persons, other companies, other players working in your environment, in your sandbox. That in some moments, it's not necessarily your competence that is like a traditional competence of your business. In some moments, it's a different way that putting and you include this. After I share one video that maybe could be very interesting for everybody to make this connection, and especially to check in your reality about it. Okay. And I want to start talking a little more about these concepts. For instance, when you think about that's the chain, that's you think that you have some parts of the base of the pyramid that you could see here. That's the economies of scale. That's it's like an infrastructure process that to make this in one way that support this. Is like the energy, like the water, everything that you could think about the public offer services, or that's a basic service that you have. This is a infrastructure. Okay. You have the network effects in the aggregators that when you could do the process, for instance, the Uber, and maybe it could be interesting to get this example, because in Uber, you could get some people offering something and other people wanting to use something. That's like Airbnb, others that you make this. You get this connection, and when you put this, in some moment, one part of this, one side could help to improve the other. And this will be very interesting when you talk about this concept of ecosystems and platforms. We'll talk more about, but just to get a few start about this concept, okay? And you could see this in the market. You could see the last step, that's the long tail markets or the niche market. You could see, for instance, some specific process that it's very, very specific for one group, but you could deliver something different in this group and make this a different delivery for them, okay? And this is basically of the long tail market. That is a groups of that you could offer something that you get this connection with the producers and the consumers, as you said before. You could have these aggregators that could make this reference for everybody. I think that's the concept of the rankings, that's the ratings that you could do. It's very interesting. That's to generate this trust advisor. You believe, you trust in the platform, and you could get this talent agent. That's some person that could help you to do what you want or to deliver something for you, okay? And the last is the infrastructure. When you could see this, is that to make this a little cheaper and accessible for more people. This is the main process of this infrastructure. For instance, you could say the energy, that's water that I was talking before, but you could think now about the computing process, the offer some computing. It's easier to buy something. It's not necessary to you to buy the computer and put in your house. You just could make it to access a public environment and a public cloud. And this is very interesting because it's low cost to use this, because you could share this in the same way that the people use for energy. That's in some moment energy is a private energy, and after they identify that it's better to put a public energy because you could share and get this economies of scale considering it. Okay, and this is the base that you are talking. And when you think about this, you say, oh my, I have some not too much idea about it and have some doubts what this kind of groups. And I put here some examples. I talked before about Amazon, that is very important to talk. You could see United States, the Walmart, that is a kind of economies of scale because concentrate the sales of different products. You could see eBay, that is the same idea, that is a platform for to sell something. You could see in these aggregators more, for instance, the Uber, that as I said before. You could see Netflix, it's the same idea because you connect if you allow cost and make this network effects that you could think about the rating, the suggestion, the share of ideas that you share. Some as the Amazon, that when you buy one book, they offer the other book. They say, okay, many people that like you, that like this product, like to this other product. That is the same idea to make these connections. We have the Airbnb in the same way that I was saying before. And this is very interesting to talk about this product. The name is Nextdoor. I don't know if you know about, but this is one specific, it's a platform in the United States that use the concept of neighborhoods. You need to define your neighborhood, that's to define where you live, and they block to you to only speak or only have access with the neighborhood. It's very interesting because that creates this little environment when you know who your neighbor and you could make business with him. Like it's true. The idea is to put you in contact with the local market, with the local pharmacy. That's everything that you have in the environment, and offering of some services that is close for you, just for some reference to you. And you have this in one way of the business, but have the other on the other way, that's the public agents. It's some variations of the Nextdoor, but it's interesting for you to understand what I'm seeking now, that you have different ways, and this will be very interesting for you to go ahead on the next steps on this presentation, because we try to put it in more examples and try to develop the ideas how you could use these concepts in your way. Okay, we have here the concept of the, just to make one completed view about the value of chain that you could see here, and the separate of this process. For instance, you have the genesis when you start something, you have the construction, the build of something that you could say that's a custom build. After you organize like a product that is very, very strong product that you see this. And at the end of the day, you could see one commodity that is like, for instance, to buy something that is very common. For instance, a food, a commodity of food, or you could see for oil, for instance, or any kind of product that is common. There's no big variation. That's almost as the same. You could buy in any part of the world. This is the idea that you could see that when you're talking about commodity, it's much more common to use more infrastructure because it's a commodity. There's no so specific product. When you think at this part, you have more for aggregators, and we're constructing this product or this solution, you could get more aggregators. And in part of the genesis, you have a little more, I could say this, long tail, because it's the niches, or the niches that is very, very specific solutions that you could use. Then you could see this, and the idea is to expand the aggregators to offer more solutions. And you could see this in this idea. Just to get this reference for you of this word, and you go ahead for the next steps, talking about some examples of one process and how you could change as these platforms to get more value and offer more than just a little based service or a little based product. Okay, and with this analysis, you could go ahead and see this one like a design of, you could see like a drawing that you see this common solutions. Normally, you have the consumer in this point because it's like more connected with the commodity solution. You could see he's the consumer. The use value, that the need that they have, it's close of this. In general, is more than one commodity. That's not so strong. This. You have the distribution process more in this construction that is more close with this. Is not so commodity because that you have some different situations in each country, in the city, in the place that you need. Each region requests something different that you could see here. You could say the process of the purchasing transactions that in many countries are not so commodities. In fact, it's very specific of each place, that the way that you're doing. And you have that some customer rant about it, that is very important to talk about. The business process to buy, and this is more close of a commodity. And you have a supplier that it's in general is more supplier, because you could think, for instance, a process, a laptop, a computer, that the distribution that's the supplier is more common, is more commodity, but you could use this product in different ways, as you could sell for a shop. It's specific with this kind of groups of persons that you could get this. Then you have this distribution in a different ways. Okay, and this you could see the utilities or components that you use that all suppliers use. You could see the assembly process, anything that you could believe about it. You could see this as a C, that is a letter C. You could see, but what is the challenge is maybe change it for a C shape, or another way to say that's change for the C for the Z. And when go to the Z, you get more value, offer more than for the customers. And I ask for you, what you can do this? What do you think that you could do this? I get some tips here that could help you, okay? And I suggest, for instance, the first, you get the consumer here, you could get here, this position of consumer, and move here for this position. In this way, you could see that you get this one analysis that you could, for instance, personalize more the experience of the customer. You put not it's a commodity way and change more for to think about this position. When you put here, you get more personalization and the customer see in a different way how this concept. Okay, you could see other that you could bring producers for this at PP2, like the supplier for this position too, that is visible for the client. They could see the marketplace, the platform, not only the product. Think about when you buy it for instance, when Walmart, eBay, you could get this many products in the same platform, and the customer could see not the consumer that you're doing, but all the products, and you could get the supplier and put here. This is what I'm talking about, the bring producers to the value chain. Okay. Other point that you could see, for instance, you could put standardization. You could see here, when you get this standardization to remove it from here and put more here in a commodity way. Imagine that the customer could buy in the same way, it's easier for him to organize the product and deliver it in a different way. This is the idea of this item. The next, you could put this complex business process embedded in a software as a service that simplify the customer to put this, and it's much more in the value chain, more visible for the client, this idea that you put it, and not only staying here in the invisible side, the invisible part of this. And you could offer more, for instance, a client could get better at the product, could identify better what they need, what kind of solutions they have in the market that could solve him, and it's very important to think about it. Okay. The next you could see is that you could enable the potential of identity, reputation, and trust. Another way, you could create a brand that in this way, that this brand could offer something different for the customers, and the customers say, for instance, Amazon. I know that Amazon sell many products, and I believe that they can offer for me something that I need, and just this is a good connection for you. Okay, this reference here. And the last, I could say this demand aggregation. You could put this demand aggregation in a marketplace and offer something different for the supply. That is one part of the process, the supply chain. But you could see for the consumer, and you could this connection with both to align better the offer and the demand. You put this in a better way. This is some examples that you could see for this that I want to share for you. I go ahead in this idea and just want to share something more that you could see about the agility. That's the agile process, that you think that the agile, the main point is to make this value for the customers, and you think about that's the ecosystems and platform that I'm speaking. Use this way. That's you, if you are accustomed with the agile, will feel that is normal for you. And it's interesting because the agility is the capacity, the possibility to respond better for the change. And when you think about the markets, the ecosystems, the platforms, I believe that you have these situations very, very applied, because you are changing the world in one way that is so hard that you think about. That's the next steps, and to clear identify what your business, what your partners, or what your concurrents. So that's what a competence that you have to share these solutions. This is a new way that you are changing very, very quickly about it. And it's my point of view, that will be the future. The trends is to have different players in different places, working in different products, offering something different. That will be the future. Think about your business, think about in your country, in your position, what's changing in the next, I don't know, that's 2-3 years, that impact in your business, impact in your life, impact in your family or persons close of you. Think about it, okay? And I just suggest for you to inspire a little more, you could see this material is a book of business agility journey. I'm very, very proud and happy to be one of the 48 co-authors that I participate in this book. This you could buy by Amazon. That is, it's a different places too, and different libraries that you could buy. It's in the English version you could buy as the online version. That's not a physical book, but you could buy this online version. And this is talking about this way, how you could offer this change for the world, and how you could deliver something more than this. Okay. And now, after I get some details, Maru, that's my connection, and after you could go ahead in the conversation with this, okay? And when I talk about it, I just get some reference for you, but I put you in a challenge to think, what's the change that you have in the world, and how you could believe that's this impact in our these markets. I will share some video now. Sorry that is in Spanish language, but I put on translate with this subtitle that you could see in English. That is interesting. And after you could get more details, I put after the link of the YouTube, and you could get to more details. I put now just to get this in English, just to put here for everybody, and pay attention in about this video, and think about if it changes that show it in the video. It's specific more of Latin America, or Brazil, and specific of our America, but you could see some of these changes in your world. Try to make this position or tropicalization for your environment, for your city, for your country, and try to identify if this change is happening true, and if it's easy to identify, or that you get this in details about it. Just put in the video now.
Domingos de reflexión. Habitantes, algo está cambiando. Spotify está fundiendo a las discográficas. Netflix hizo que ya casi no queden videoclubes y que vaya mucha menos gente al cine. Booking tiene en jaque a las agencias de turismo. Google inutilizó a las páginas amarillas. Airbnb está atemorizando a los dueños de los hoteles. WhatsApp amenaza a operadores de telefonía fija y celular. Las redes sociales a los medios de comunicación. Uber a los taxistas. OLX está acabando con los avisos clasificados. Los smartphones condenaron a las casas de fotografía. Zipcar hace la vida imposible a las compañías de alquiler de vehículos. Tesla pone en duda el futuro de las automotrices. El email complicó a los correos postales. Waze acabó con los GPS. Original y Nubank amenazan al sistema bancario tradicional. La nube hace cada vez más inútiles a los pendrives. YouTube pone en riesgo a las empresas de televisión. Facebook está matando a los portales de contenido. Tinder y similares quitan mercado a las discotecas. Wikipedia mató a los diccionarios y enciclopedias. ¿Cuánto tiempo crees que va a durar tu empleo en su forma actual? ¿Y quieres seguir viviendo como vivías hace 10 años? Te sugiero que te reinventes diariamente para continuar en este juego llamado vida. Siempre yendo para adelante. No porque detrás venga gente, sino porque ya hay mucha gente delante de nosotros que nos lleva ventaja. ¿Qué opinan, amigos?
Perfect, my friends. I don't know if you get this reference in your country, but it's very interesting, to think about these challenges. And more than, you could see that how you could make this and deliver something that's a very strange for you. And you think that in some moment you say that is a provocative video, that you put you in a bad situation. And you could say, okay, I need to create some strength, some safe places to support these different winds or this globalization ways that are coming for you. In some moments it could be enough, but in other way that's maybe could be not enough. And think about that, maybe you could use these winds to create some, how can I say this, to use these winds to deliver more. In some moment you could do this, and you could identify, as sharing in the screen, you could use this to make this to be like a change agent for this. You could be, and you could use it to deliver and to deliver more, something more in the company, in business, or for the customers that work with you. Think about if you could do this, considering these changes that the world was passing, and that maybe could be opportunity and not a threat, that as the first idea that you could do. Okay, and go ahead on these ideas. I just get some more concept here. I just want to talk about that. It's important to make this some personal reflections about it. What is the knowledge that you acquired? What is the change in your way that you're thinking about, and what commitment that you could do for your life, for your personal and professional life. Okay, and the last activity that I want to do with everybody here, I just ask for you, I know that you may stay in different parts of the world, maybe someone is listening here in the recorded version, but I ask for you just to close your eyes at this moment and imagine one place. Imagine one house, a very, very poor house in Brazil, in Latin America, close of the city of São Paulo. Imagine this city, imagine one guy, a child with only 9 years old, seeing one screen. In a TV of this screen, he could see, for instance, different buildings or monuments of different parts of the world. And for the reality of this child, is so far of the life of him that think that in fact it's from other planet or the other world. Now you could open your eyes and think that the same child is talking with you at this moment. And now think about if you know one child that is a good person, that's got good potential, but that's difficult to put this potential on way. In some moments, it's not only for the financial request. In some moments, it's just for words, some one direction or something, some difference that they need. I want to get now the commitment that everybody that's participating this moment in this place here and that listen this conversation, that get the compromise that help one child, only one child at least, that this child could change his life, the life of his family, and in fact, change the world. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. Have a nice day for you. Perfect, my friends. That is the expectation that I have here. That's to talk a little more about these topics. If anyone that some doubts or some questions could do here, that could write here. You could find my LinkedIn. That is very easy. Henrique Mariano. That you could get this and have some reference now for numbers that you could get some WhatsApp or something like it. I have some site here that at Mariano that you could get more details, more connection with me. Anyone that wants to talk more. That is about me. There's some reference of social networks like Instagram that could be into instrument and contact. And the last point, I have one group of the Transform Digital in Latam. That is it's a LinkedIn group. You talk about the concept of digital transformation, talk a little more about these topics. It will be a pleasure to get you and participate. Just find this in LinkedIn, and it will be a very interesting to maintain the discussion and go ahead on the process. Okay. And now I am open for everybody. If anyone wants some questions, want to write here in chat, or could open the audio too, and want to do the question here. The idea is to share this moment to improve this opportunity to make this connection. And you have some doubt or some comment, and it's now the moment to do. And anyway, thank you very much for you to participate here, and we're very proud of it that you get this contact with everybody. And it's a pleasure for me to share something. And in fact, at the end of the day, discover more or learn more with everybody that participate in some conference and some events. And that's very, very interesting to share everything here. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your interest in participation here, and it's a pleasure for me. Thank you very much. Okay,
thank you, Henrique.
Perfect. Thank you, Roberto. That is
someday I'll see you in Peru.
Yes, Peru. Yes, I live 1 year in Peru. That's a beautiful place, no? But is that about the food of Peru? Do you like it?
You say?
Do you like of the food of Peru?
Yeah, we experiment. We are journalists. We experiment when I get there. No one particular for now, but
okay.
Happy to
Perfect. No, that's it. You need to have the opportunity to enjoy more. It's a good food. I believe that's one of the best of Latin America, but maybe could say all the America, the continent of the America. It's one of the best foods that you could enjoy a lot. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank
bye.
You, friends. Thank you.